Welcome back, everybody, to Eclipse's book reviews. Today we are reviewing The Invincible by Stanislaw. Okay, finished this book in a couple weeks. Short sci-fi book, and I gotta say, was pleasantly surprised. I went in with low expectations. So let's get right into it. Intro to the book. The Invincible, a formidable military spaceship, lands on the planet Rega. 3. Her crew's main task is to find out what happened to her sister ship Condor, which landed here and seized all communication. Regis is a desert planet that is completely devoid of life, and on its surface, but does contain an ecosystem in its oceans. This baffles the scientists on board, who are sent to study the planet for its potential exploitation in the future. There does not seem to be any reason why life would be completely gone above the waterline. So to get right into it, you should read this book if you want to read a classic sci-fi that was ahead of its time and it's short, not a 500-page thunker. And you should also read this if you love Planet Exhibition or Planet, like a little bit of alien contact, but really if you like the idea of a Planet Expedition. I said exhibition, didn't I? English. Planet Expedition. So, spoiler-free review. I gave this thing a 3.75 out of 5. Yeah, so we'll get right into it. General thoughts. It was a good book. It didn't necessarily blow me away, but it's definitely a classic sci-fi that still holds up. It did some things that actually I hadn't quite seen do before that well in this setting, which was kind of nice. Don't go into this looking for some mind-blowing characters. I think the plot does enough to make the characters like enough. And the themes that it's exploring, like nature versus man, what does it mean to be human in this vast solar system or vast universe, these kinds of things, the way it explores that and kind of touches on them. I would have liked some more of that, but generally, yeah, I think it did those things well enough, and I definitely think it's worth a read for most of you people. And I actually did not know, I thought the video game, like I had heard of the video game first before the book, so this was definitely a pleasant surprise, and it's ironic, I'm reading 2 sci-fi books based off of video games, so shout out video games, man. So for characters, I gave characters a 3.5 stars out of 5. Again, I think don't go into this book wanting a character first story. It's mostly the plot and the setting that's driving kind of the characters forward, but I do think the characters are enough to push the plot forward. Some of the Planet Expedition stuff was interesting enough for the characters but they're all in the end replaceable, but I do think it does enough, like this, a little bit of the psychological analysis. There's a commander of the ship, like why is he making the decisions that he's making and these kinds of things. So there's enough to make some of the characters interesting, but again, don't go read into this reading a character first. And that's all I'll really say about characters for now, because really what's driving this is the plot and the setting. So that goes right into plot, which I gave 3.75 out of 5. And again, I love Planet Expedition stuff. My 3 favorite sci-fi tropes: Planet Expedition, exploring alien species especially in a non-military conflict kind of way. I eat those 2 things up. So this was definitely up my alley, and the plot, again, this is kind of a little bit of got some sci-fi horror elements to it, but not so horror-y like that. Kind of might push some people away, just like kind of the unknown, the reality of the unknown. And I really love that the plot embraces like this nature of versus man in a science fiction way, because what does it mean to actually face the unknown? Like what yeah, those kinds of things are really cool to explore, and it had me thinking like, okay, what does that mean? So yeah, 3.75 out of 5. Some negatives, I do think some of the writing took me out. Like it is a little bit of hard sci-fi, but it's a little clunky at times where it kind of takes me out of it. Where all right, if we're a hard sci-fi book, let's be a hard sci-fi book. If we a soft sci-fi book, let's be a soft sci book. Like let's not be necessarily in between. So yeah, for impact and thought provokingness, this is definitely the highest category, and I gave that 4 out of 5 stars. Again, this book definitely had some elements of making me think. This book did a good job, not just nature and man, but also the prose, like the way it was describing some of this planet scenes really did a good job for my imagination. It was really capturing, like I could really picture this desolate planet with this crazy developments, let's say, without going into any spoilers, and that was really really cool. And I think other things about impact and thought provokingness, these kinds of themes, I love when science fiction books do that, really make you think, like what it means to be human, what does it mean, what would it actually mean to travel and interstellar traveler, and not everything for us is to conquer, not everything for us, like this tendency of humanity is not something that has a happy ending all the time, and something in reality that we really need to grasp with. So yeah, I like the way it did that, especially with, I don't want to give a spoiler, but especially the main plot arc enemy, let's say, in the book, the way it was interacting with the story was really well done. I hadn't seen it done quite so well in a book before, but a lot more sci-fi to read, and that goes into world building. I gave that 3.75 out of 5. Again, I like the way that I think it did a good job of creating the planet into like its kind of own character, and the way, like, and not kind of like expedition. I'm struggling with words today, bro. What's it called? Y'all know what I'm trying to say, man. Damn, it's early. Like, information dumps. No, they didn't really have that kind of, if you kind of want something that's more natural in the world building on this kind of planet expedition style, I kind of felt like I was also on this planet like, whoa, what is this? Like, what does that mean? Like, I don't know if we should send people there. Like, this kind of things, that part was, like, that really had me on my edge and wanted to see, okay, what's going on here? Without this map, I'm also in the unknown. None of this huge information dumps. It did have some, but in terms of the world building, I don't feel like it had too much. And again, another category, fun. 3.75 out of 5. Even with some of the hard sci-fi, everything, like, this is a good book. It's a really good book. 3.75 out of 5 is a really good book. This is the first Stanislaw Lem, I should be able to pronounce that because I'm Polish, Stanislaw Lem's book I've ever read, and I definitely plan on reading more. I don't think this is his best work from the research that I've done. I would definitely recommend this for sci-fi readers. Again, if you're looking for kind of a classic hard sci-fi that was a little bit of a time that's short, this is definitely a book for you. And if you like planet expedition and, like, let's say with contact, like alien species contact, it's a good book to read. Like, you won't go wrong with this book. It won't floor you for some people. Maybe for some people it will. It depends on the crowd, but yeah, you should definitely pick this up. So yeah, so overall 3.75 out of 5, and I will read some more Stanislaw Lem. Let's see what book I will read next. I've been kind of on wanting to really dive into more short sci-fi books because there is a ton out there, and I have not done my due diligence. I need to read that shit. But anyway, see y'all later for the next review.